What if I gave you $100 bill and dropped you in the middle of New York City? Would you blow it on a single meal or stretch it across an entire day of food, fun, and iconic sights? In a city where a cocktail can cost $25 and rent is sky high, we're testing just how far $100 can really take you. This is What $100 Gets You in New York City, Budget versus Reality, 2025 edition. Let's see how much NYC you can actually experience on a budget in 2025. Now, before we begin, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more awesome travel guides, and make sure you hit the notification bell so that you know when we publish a new video. So now, let's cut to the chase. And at 1, morning kickoff, fueling up and exploring Midtown. The day begins where most New York stories do, in the heart of Manhattan. With $100 in hand, we kick things off with a proper New York breakfast. Forget fancy hotel buffets. We head to a neighborhood favorite bagel shop in Midtown, where the line is mostly locals grabbing a morning bite. An everything bagel with cream cheese and a small hot coffee runs about $9. And it's not just filling, it's authentically New York. The bagel is dense, fresh, and loaded with flavor. It's a bite-sized introduction to the city's hustle. Fueled up, we start walking, because walking is the best way to meet New York. In just a few blocks, you pass glass skyscrapers, old brick churches, neon-lit delis, and people from everywhere. A short stroll brings us to Bryant Park, one of the city's most loved green pockets. Just steps away, Grand Central Terminal offers both architectural beauty and a quick lesson in human movement. Next up, we hop on the subway. A single ride costs $2.90 in 2025, and despite the reputation, it remains the fastest way to get around. The trains may not be glamorous, but they're packed with real stories, musicians, commuters, and the occasional guy preaching doomsday. We ride southbound, headed for something iconic, something free, and something with a view. At this point, we spent just under $12 and already touched breakfast, a landmark, a public park, and NYC's essential transportation. At 2, downtown adventures, scenic views, and hidden gems. Downtown Manhattan is a world of contrasts, historic and hyper-modern, calm and chaotic. We exit the subway near Battery Park, with views of New York Harbor glistening in the distance. Tourists crowd around the docks for expensive ferry tours, but we know a smarter move, the Staten Island Ferry. It's 100% free and offers unbeatable views of the Statue of Liberty and Lower Manhattan. As we cruise across the water, the city skyline rises and glows, reminding us that the best things in New York often cost nothing. Back on land, it's time for something grounding, a visit to the 9/11 Memorial. The twin reflecting pools are haunting and beautiful, free to access, and surrounded by silence even in the middle of a noisy city. The museum, however, has a $19 ticket, and it's well worth the emotional and historical depth it offers. We include it in our $100 budget, and it's one of the day's most meaningful stops. Afterward, hunger kicks in, and lunch is calling, of course. We skip the overpriced cafes and instead head for a halal cart with a cult following, the kind locals trust. A chicken and rice platter with white sauce costs just $9, and it's delicious, steaming hot, and generously portioned. We eat it on a bench, watching office workers, street performers, and endless yellow cabs zoom by. With the day nearly halfway through, we've now spent about $40, but we've covered rich experiences, iconic views, solemn reflection, and bold flavors. And the best part? We're not even done yet. So next up, at 3, afternoon escapes, green spaces and culture on a budget. After a heavy lunch and some emotional depth, it's time to escape the concrete and chaos. We hop on the subway again, this time heading uptown towards Central Park, arguably the best deal in New York because it's completely free and endlessly beautiful. The ride costs us another $2.90, leaving us with around $57 in the budget. Central Park is a living, breathing part of the city's identity. You'll find joggers, dog walkers, musicians, couples rowing boats, and families feeding ducks, all within a few steps. It's serene, cinematic, and sprawling. We stroll past Bethesda Terrace, pause by the fountain, and take in the skyline peeking between the trees. This is where New York exhales. On a sunny day, it feels like the city has given you a gift, shade, space, and a moment to breathe. But culture is calling again. Just across the street is the American Museum of Natural History. Officially, it runs on a suggested donation, but we decide to pay a fair $10 and walk inside. From towering dinosaur skeletons to dazzling displays of Earth's ecosystems, it's an immersive experience for all ages, and one that's surprisingly budget-friendly. We wrap up the museum visit with a quick caffeine fix. A small iced coffee with a local cafe sets us back $4.50, a necessary boost for the energy dip that's always hits around 3 p.m. Sitting on a bench outside, coffee in hand, museum ticket in the pocket, it becomes clear, even in the most expensive city in America, $100 still goes further than expected, if you spend it right. Alright, at 4, Brooklyn bound, crossing the bridge and chasing views. We leave the Manhattan rush behind and head for one of New York's most iconic walks, the Brooklyn Bridge. It's completely free, wide open to the sky, and full of energy. As we walk across, the skyline rises behind us and the East River glistens below. Cyclists whiz past, street performers entertain tourists, and photo ops appear every few steps. This isn't just a shortcut, it's a spectacle, and it costs nothing but time. Once we reach Brooklyn, we head straight into Dumbo, the artsy, Instagram-famous neighborhood known for its cobblestone streets, trendy cafes, and postcard-perfect views. Right on the waterfront, we sit beneath the Manhattan Bridge arch and look back at the city. It's one of the best spots to admire New York without spending a dime. Still, it's New York, and temptations are everywhere. We step into a small coffee shop and grab a cold brew to recharge, $5 with tip. It's local, strong, and hits the spot. With about $44 left, we explore a pop-up art exhibit in a nearby gallery. Free entry thanks to the neighborhood's creative spirit. We could splurge on a rooftop bar here, but instead we buy a small NYC-themed tote bag from a local shop for $10. It's our physical souvenir for the day, practical, memorable, and uniquely Brooklyn. As the sun starts to dip, we take the ferry back to Manhattan. The East River ferry ride costs $4.25, and it's a stunning way to return, passing under bridges, beside piers, and toward the glittering skyline at golden hour. With roughly $25 still in our pocket, it's time for the final act. And finally, at 5, it's sunset dinner and final tally. Was it worth it? We arrive back in Manhattan just as the city begins to glow. Times Square lights flicker in the distance, but we're headed toward the West Village, where the pace slows down and locals linger in cozy corners. For dinner, we skip fine dining and hit a classic slice joint. 2 large slices and a soda, just $9 total. Hot, cheesy, satisfying, and about as New York as it gets. After dinner, we take a leisurely walk along the Hudson River Park, a place where locals unwind, runners cruise past, and the city breathes differently. The skyline is spectacular from here, especially at dusk. Best of all, it's free. The breeze, the views, the calm, they cost nothing, yet feel like luxury. To wrap up the night, we swing by a famous bakery and split a warm chocolate chip cookie, $4.50, gooey perfection with just enough sugar to end the day on a sweet note. As we sit on a bench under glowing street lamps, we do the final tally. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, coffee, transit, ferry rides, museums, a souvenir, and scenic walks, all for just about $100. No gimmicks, no tricks, just smart choices, local flavors, and a full New York day from morning to midnight. We stretched that $100 across every borough we touched, through iconic views and small indulgences. And it wasn't just about the money, it was about the experience. So, can you survive, even thrive in New York City with just $100 in 2025? Absolutely. You just need a plan, some walking shoes, and a curiosity for everything in between. If you love this breakdown, tell us in the comments where we should do the $100 challenge next. And don't forget to subscribe, because your next budget-friendly adventure might be just one video away.